All right, hello and welcome to the first official episode of the show. I'm Robbie.
And as you know, I'm Jordan.
And we're going to talk about some stuff that has happened over the last week. We've got some exciting things planned for you that we're probably going to ruin and make less exciting. Let's dive in.
Some general stuff in there too, just random.
We might make some conversation.
Yeah. Thinking about it on the way over here, thinking about what you might want to start with. And honestly, we delayed doing this a little bit. And so while I was waiting, I went onto Facebook. You ever read a post that is just either so stupid that liking or deleting that post or hiding it is just not good enough? You have to do something else?
Yes. In light of that, there was this C-SPAN video that got posted yesterday. Senator Bernie Sanders, Democratic presidential candidate, who made an appearance at Liberty University, and there were some fun comments going on the Facebook post from C-SPAN. I screenshotted a few of those, and we're going to have those appear on the screen over our faces or something else, but we're going to read those for you.
Let me just put in my password to my iPad. Nobody knows. It's zeros. All zeros.
Just like my GPA.
So here's some of the stuff that people are posting there that just like what?
Some of it's kind of off the wall, some of it's kind of not off the wall, some of it's just, well, you'll see. Bernie is a commie. When did so many Americans start supporting commies? Sickening. 15 likes.
15. In response to former posts, you are both ignorant. Sanders is a self-proclaimed socialist and even more dangerous than the putts in office now. And all you people who support socialist policies, go live in a country where it has been done and failed miserably. It will never work.
And just to kind of interrupt, sorry, I'm going to post the silhouettes of some countries that, haven't been terribly unsuccessful.
Here, maybe here. This one, we're gonna go in reverse. One like. I know exactly what a commie is. Link.
Oh, and we clicked that link.
Oh yeah, we did.
We're gonna provide it so that you can click it too, because it's pretty good. You should read it.
Clicked it good. Somewhere around here.
Okay, first and foremost, the title of this is Bernie Sanders is a communist and an ignoramus. If that is not politically charged enough for you, let's get into some of the article's contents.
Maybe we should read it in like a Don LaFontaine, that whole title. Bernie Sanders is a communist and an ignoramus.
Subtitle: he's not actually democratic or socialist either. I don't actually have a very good impersonating voice, so unless we're talking Bill Cosby, and that is totally not socially acceptable anymore, so can't do it.
Really? Can I not listen to like a Bill Cosby record anymore right now and like be happy because it's funny?
No, because he's not funny anymore because he did all those nasty things. So once you do something bad, there's nothing to be appreciated for. Right, Michael Jackson? Too soon. All right. From another anonymous contributor to this wonderful Facebook thread, this person does not think so. A socialist will never get to be elected. We ousted a king who wanted to tax the people to the brink of broke, and we will do it again if need be. Rise up, fight the power. If you want the government to pay for all your needs at the expense of taxpayers, then you need to move. Bernie wants taxes as high as 90%. Sound economics, huh? Now, it's funny that we were just talking about wanting taxes as high as 90% when we're talking about 90% for a portion of the population. We're not talking about taxing everybody 90% of their income. Huge difference.
Yeah, but thinking about that, if everybody was poor, it'd probably suck.
Well, as a matter of fact, everybody is getting poorer. If you look at the statistics, the middle class is slowly diminishing and the wealthy are getting wealthier. So eventually, if we keep doing things the way we have been doing, we will be all poor, except for like 15 people.
Especially those who have good subscribers to their YouTube channel.
Yeah, one day. On that note, I got 2 more subscribers from that last episode, so.
Whoa.
On the way to the top.
2. Okay. That's 2 more than I have on my show, which I guess is kind of this show too, but yeah, I don't have a show. Every now and then I use YouTube to update my bosses on what I've done. Like, hey, I'd rather do this than give you a letter, so play this video, you'll be good. Next comment. Ha 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 ha. You liberals just floor me. This country is screwed up because of 7 years of your socialist democratic crap. And risen on the precipice of 100 years of progressivism, you're fooling no one but yourselves.
Is that French? Pessipoo?
Pessipo?
Pectopus?
The P might be silent at the beginning, like pterodactyl. On the Pessipo?
Oh, the wall of text.
Good, like, take a deep breath.
Ooh. We have enough men in DC and priorities stink! They all rant about the same things, then we have the same results. Vote for women who care about a decent place to live. Duh, Sanders is a militant Jew. Sanderbaggers. I have not heard that yet until this. So I thought that was very interesting. Sanderbaggers, is that like Sanderbags? Like douchebags, but Sanderbags, right? Sanderbaggers.
Be careful though, not to confuse them with Sandler baggers.
Or sandbags.
Yeah.
Are being smothered in his bubble of rhetoric. I mean, she tried the whole hooked on phonics thing, and I guess it really didn't work out. I'm sure context clues can tell you what that was supposed to say, but really dropped the ball. True socialism existed in what was then Soviet Russia, the one that Sanders put up a Soviet flag in his office to honor and then took his honeymoon in Soviet Russia. In Soviet Russia, honeymoon, take you. The socialism that exists in countries in the EU also have thriving capitalism. And before I move on, I would just like to point out one key factor about this image that you guys are looking at right now. If you look at the very bottom, right after the timestamp, there's this little funny word. It says edited.
Edited. That's probably how they're reading it.
Yeah, you're probably right. As in, this was not the first draft of this comment. They carefully thought about this and then went back and made changes to it. And it still looks like this.
That brings up a good point though, because it does take a certain amount of effort to write things down. I give props to many people that write their own books, even though I don't want to read them, not usually. But in this particular sense, you have to learn how to type first, somehow, and then you have to write it out. And take it from two graduate students that have to do APA style formatting, or maybe Chicago if the professor wants it, or whatever else. Our grade actually just depends on how we write it. It doesn't necessarily depend on what was written.
It's kind of true.
So,
and kind of awesome.
Yeah, so, I mean, I see something like this, and I have a little bit of respect that they wrote it, and then about yay much negative respect for all of the...
That's mad disrespect.
I got one more quote for you. It's a good one.
Okay.
You can't believe everything that's on the internet.
Okay. I thought everything that was on the internet was true.
Both of those Abraham Lincoln quotes.
You were so right. He was such a wise man.
He knew his stuff. I follow his Twitter account. It's good. Hasn't said much lately.
Speaking of things being true on the internet, talking about our names, I'm not actually Robbie, but if you've gotten this far into the video, hopefully you knew that already.
Yeah, I'm James. Yeah, actually no, speaking of things that aren't true on the internet, I don't know if it's true or not. I have a certain friend of mine, the Nintendo bit you sent me earlier. So for those of you who don't know, we'll put a flash image up on the screen. Nintendo and Niantic released a video about a augmented reality Pokemon game. And it looks pretty interesting to me.
I can talk about it a little bit. Yeah, absolutely. Sure. I would like to point out, and I'll have like a little clip of the trailer in here. As a disclaimer, I didn't create any of that, and I'm not trying to make any money off of it. So don't you dare try to pay me. But actually, you could probably pay me, just not for that. But I think it's interesting that the ad caters to people of our generation. Did you notice that all of the Pokemon that were featured in that ad were original 151 Pokemon?
Oh yeah, it goes back to my theory of why Ninja Turtles was gonna fail from the get-go. But we'll get back to this some other time.
Okay.
If you want to.
I would absolutely love to talk about why Ninja Turtles were bound to fail, because I still love the Ninja Turtles actually.
In the interest of time, I can do it in 10 seconds when we get to it.
All right. But augmented reality is basically taking everyday objects and your environment that surrounds you and making it better by using a mobile device such as your smartphone. And by pointing it at triggers, you can see different things that are in the environment around you. In this case, it's Pokemon.
Yeah, it's one more way to be creative. I mean, there's a bunch of different apps right now. Augmented reality isn't a new thing. For example, there is a thing called geocaching. If you've ever been doing that, that's probably one of the earliest forms of augmented reality I know of, where you could go to a certain spot, let's say hike a mountain. You get to the top of the mountain and, that's it. But you actually get, points or rewards for being in that specific spot at that time. Or Erasma is another thing that overlays different images and 3D models and everything on things when you scan it with your phone. But this one is kind of like a mixture of both of those. You're going out, you're hiking around, and you're in the middle of a field. You get that tingly sense. You bring your phone up and you scan it around, and boom, there's Pikachu just rustling in a bush right there. That seems kind of fun because now I'm actually outside doing it, and I get like way more intense when that happens.
And it's cool. It prevents couch potatoism, and it's kind of like an MMO in a sense that you get to play with your friends and make it a community effort. They have raids and all kinds of things that are kind of MMO-esque that are pretty exciting, and people are really into the whole multiplayer aspect of Pokemon, so I'm definitely going to give it a try when it happens, and we'll definitely revisit this.
Personal favorite of mine, if we cut to this clip, is they have the ability to attack others' Pokemon. I just love this. Some guy's got some Snorlax on a bridge, and some girl goes in there with a Gyarados, I think, right? And absolutely, she's just like, get it, and just absolutely starts mauling the Snorlax. So I mean, like, I feel like I'd be the one to go around doing that. I'd be like, there's so much Pokemon over there. Go get them, Squirtle.
All right. So I guess since we're talking about games, today is September 15th that we're filming this, and that is the day that The Taken King came out for Destiny. And like I said last week, I am a Destiny fan, and for you guys, because I love you, I decided not to play it yet until I could talk about it on the show. So without further ado, we're going to kind of cut to my first experience with The Taken King and see what I think about it.
All right, so let's dig into the meat of my experience with The Taken King thus far. What I did, I just kind of recorded the first couple hours of my experience with The Taken King, going through the early game, and tried to capture some of the more action-y moments. A lot of it does look very similar to the version 1.0 Destiny, so a lot of the changes are a little more subtle than you might notice if you're just looking at the game and the graphics, even though there are some obvious changes like the new enemies, which are actually just rehashes of the old enemies that were in the game, but they behave a little bit differently than their non-taking counterparts. And I think that's a really cool effect because you see things that are familiar to you in a way. You'll see Vandals, you'll see Acolytes, you'll see Thralls, you'll see the Centurions from the Cabal, but they'll all behave a little bit differently than the vanilla enemies. And that adds a little sense of excitement, makes them feel dangerous, because they're a little bit unpredictable at first and it takes a little while to get used to them, and that's fun. I also really did like the level design and how there was a lot more focus on thinking rather than just trying to hide or shoot your way through a certain section of a level. That was pretty cool. There were even some surprises where you sort of think that a mission is over and it's not really over. There's extra steps that you have to take. The twists were really nice, and I enjoyed just having a different spice to the gameplay elements that had otherwise gotten pretty stale to me, playing Destiny for over a year now, and that was fun. I definitely like the upgrades with the new classes. The new subclasses are really fun. The supers are awesome. The Warlock especially, which is my main character, as you can see, is really flashy, does lots of damage, makes you feel super powerful. You float like some kind of superhuman something, and you do lots of damage and kill things, and that's exciting. Flashing lights are fun. But no, seriously, the abilities are cool. I'm most really familiar with the Warlock and the Hunter, but I haven't really played the Titan too much, so I'll have to get back to you guys on how I feel about that one when I mess with my third character a little more. But the new subclasses are fun. The new gameplay elements are cool. The way the Taken spawn, kind of like the wolves did before, are pretty neat. But what I don't like, I did find a couple frustrating little pieces here and there where I just couldn't quite make it through some of the levels or some of the pieces of the stages. Here is a great example of how frustrated I got just trying to make this what looks like a super simple jump, and it probably was a lot simpler than I was making it, but it took me so many different tries to figure out how to get across this stupid little ledge without dying. It was pretty aggravating. Now, I finally did make it, and I felt pretty good about myself afterward, but the frustration was real for a little bit. And the one thing that I guess is definitely still true to Destiny is that it's still overall a social experience in addition to kind of an action first-person shooter experience. So even though there are, first-person shooter-like elements, frustrating elements where you fall off the map a lot, it's nice to know that you can sometimes like sit back, wave down a friend, and just have a dance party. And dance you shall, because there's going to be lots of idle time while you're waiting for those new taken enemies to drop, or ride the elevators, or just because there's other people around you that are dancing or doing whatever, being ridiculous, falling forever. It's a good time. I enjoy Destiny a lot. I'm really pleased with the Taken King. It's been fun. Looking forward to more.
All right, well, that wraps things up for this week, I suppose. We'll talk more some other time. Maybe next week. Maybe never. But probably.
We hope to make it. Make sure to keep those numbers up, folks.
Yeah, 2 more subscribers because we aim real high.